Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back. Great to be working with Eddie and Matchroom and Sky again. I think George has very fond memories of the O2 Arena. Of course, he beat his old-time enemy there, James DeGale. We're going to be looking for a performance like that on Saturday. I think this fight has been, there's not been that many bad words between the two of them. And I think that shows the type of fight that everyone knows this is going to be. It's going to be a tough fight. Martin Murray has been in there with the best. He's become very close to beating the best. Should have perhaps gotten the rub of the green on a few of the fights. It's going to be a tough fight. And I know George has been training for a very tough fight. Him and Shane have been creating a masterclass in the gym. And I believe that you're going to see the best George grows on Saturday. Hopefully we'll get the win. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisse. Adam, I know this is a fight you're very, very excited about. It's one that we've discussed for a long time, and on Saturday night it happens. A few words from you, and I know you've got some questions for the guys at the table.
Absolutely. We don't do a gloves are off if we're not really, really excited about a fight like this. I mean, we normally save those for the headline attractions. In my view, the fight between George Groves and Martin Murray could headline pretty much any show anywhere. I think it's a terrific battle. I think they're two guys that we have huge respect for at Sky. We've shown a number of their fights, and they're both good guys. They're both great fighters, and they both want to become a world champion. So I think it's a perfect mix, and I cannot wait for it. I'm also looking forward to seeing John Wayne Hibbert again. He always gives us value for money. He's a terrific character. He had a really good win over Tommy Martin in a fight. People couldn't predict that one, and I don't think people can predict this one. So let's start with it. Let's go to our Italian visitor down there with our friend Chris Kirky down there. Hi to see you, Chris. Andrea, or to the pair of you, how excited, first of all, are you to be on a show like this in England? It's not just all due respect to the Grey Civic Hall. It's not a little leisure centre. This is a massive night for British boxing. How excited, first of all, just being a part of it, are you, Andrea?
Now it's in England. It's the America of boxing. Every time is a big show. Joshua fight is special, but Manchester, the fight in the Manchester Arena, in the Liverpool, in the stadium, they are a fantastic night. We know John have been in exciting fights before. Andrea is a 2 times Italian champion, intercontinental champion, and 3 times. Correct me, 3 times. So let's hope this will be a great fight for the fans at the O2 Arena too.
So Andrea's very hungry for a victory on this sort of a stage. How dangerous does he feel John Wayne Hibbert is, and how does he beat him?
I think Hibbert is a very, very good boxer, but Saturday night I'm ready to die for this belt. I'm ready for fight all my energy in the match. Win the best. I respect my opponent, and he's also.
You're excited and ready.
Yes, because he's now is the most important match in my life. In Italy, event more big is impossible. We in Italy have a very, very difficulty to organize, to call the people to see the fight. and fight come si dice davanti a 20.000 persone? In front of 20,000 people is a first time, but it's not important. The important is the match. The important is fight, is win, is take the bell. It's okay.
That's perfect. We wish you
Thank
well.
you. I'm sorry for my English.
No, you did terrific, and now we're going to get John in Italian. So, on a serious note, it's been fantastic, as Eddie said, your rise in the last couple of years. You've picked up experience from all sorts of situations and fights and belts, and obviously you bring a huge crowd as well along with you. But this is a huge night. It's the biggest yet for you. How highly do you rate Andrea Scarpa, and how prepared are you for what awaits on Saturday?
Well, obviously Andrea is a great opponent. He's 3 times Italian champion. I think also the IBF Intercontinental champion. I think he's ranked number 10 in the IBF, and I believe he hasn't been beaten 4 years. So, you know, it speaks for itself, really. You know, I've got to thank Eddie and Matchroom for getting this fight. It's a huge fight for me, and when I win, it will stick me on a world level. So, yeah, I thank Eddie. And I just cannot wait to get in there on Saturday.
Do you think the experience of being on some of these big shows is really going to help you? I mean, you're kicking off our Sky Sports box office event, which I know you're looking forward to doing. But the fact that you've been there before with the big crowds and the big expectations, I suppose because of your big fan base, that will set you in good stead. Yeah,
I've boxed at the O2. This is my 5th time. Tommy Martin was at the Copper Box. It feels like home, you know. It's a great venue, like you said, in front of 16,000 people. It is like home, and you know we've trained for 16 weeks for this fight, and believe me, we're ready.
Not a bad home, is it? I think AJ feels the same way. But pretty good company, isn't it?
It is pretty good. Yeah.
Can you believe where you've come?
No, you know, from the Civic Hall, like Eddie said, you know, 700, 800 people there to 16, 17,000 people. It's a pretty remarkable story, and I intend to keep it going and beating Andreas, and then moving on to bigger and better things.
Finally, are we going to get a traditionally exciting, enticing fight from John Wayne Hibbert that we're going to be talking about afterwards?
Oh. So, well, you know that, don't you? You know that.
Wish you well, both of you. Thank you for that. Let's move on to, as I said, what could be a main event pretty much anywhere. Fantastic fight with George Groves and Martin Murray. I'm going to bring Andrew, not Martin McHale, in first of all. I know you've known Martin a long time, and have been through a number of situations with him. He's come so close on many occasions to beating so many good fighters. Have you seen him in this particular camp compared to the Martin of old?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'd probably say is how much more comfortable he is at this weight. You know, Martin's really struggled to get to 160 in the past, and it's quite painful to watch. He probably feels how George is feeling right now in the past. But Martin's natural as a natural middleweight, super middleweight, not middleweight. So, and his head's in a great place. Obviously, he signed with MGM, who've given him real lot of encouragement. Eddie's been fantastic with him, and together they put this fight on, and it was Martin's first question, really. Is Groves on the table when he signed with Matchroom? So he wanted this from the very start. But I actually think that this fight is not going to come down to boxing ability, full stop. This is going to come down to mindset, where Martin has got the strongest mind I've ever seen. You know, I look up to him and admire him as a friend, and he's taught me a lot over the years about myself and a lot of other people. He's been in some very dark places, as you know. He's climbed his way out, and look where he is now. And you know, I've been sat with him the day before Golovkin fight, and he's been looking at the TV and watching big fights, saying, I'd love to be in front of a home crowd he's been in front of. It's no big fight for Martin in one respect, because he's been in front of Martinez with 40,000 people wanting him to die. You know, so, and walking through that. So this to him is not going to faze him at all. He's been in with the toughest man, I'm sure you'll agree, pound for pound fighter in the world right now. If he couldn't scare him, George is definitely not going to be able to do it. So I'm looking forward to this, but this mentally, this is where this fight will be won. Not boxing ability, it's going to be mentally.
And having known him for so long, do you think every bit of those experiences, the dark places, the tough nights, the wins, the losses, are all going to help him in a situation like this on a massive home stage against a very talented fighter, George Groves? Yeah,
and there's no doubt in George has showed his ability. Nobody can question boxing ability with either of these guys. Both great fighters. I've been, just speaking to Martin on the train down here, big George Groves fan in the past. You know, I wanted him to beat Froch on both occasions. So, you know, I'm not sitting here no one's going to disrespect either of these guys, because nobody in here, nobody in the world can disrespect Martin or George. They got in there, they had the big fights. And all right, fair enough, they've lost, but someone's going to lose again on Saturday. But I'm positive in the shape Martin's in the mentality he's in, it won't be him, because this is the fight he's been waiting for. 20,000 people, UK soil, and it is a big advantage, you know, to a home fighter when you're going away, and you know the decisions Martin's had. He should be definitely, there's no doubt about it, 2 times world champion. Was been robbed twice, and that's the story of Martin's career, robbery. But we're now here with Matchroom, and I think we're going to get a fair result, win, lose or draw. I think we're going to get a fair result on Saturday in front of a great crowd, and I definitely think this is a massive fight in the UK. Massive, biggest this year, domestic fight.
Thanks, Andrew. I agree. It is a massive fight. You talk about the shape mentally and physically that Martin's in. Let's bring Shane McGuigan in, who has obviously had a few months now with George Groves, a couple of real successes after the close decision loss to Badu Jack. Thank you for joining us last night on the live stream, as well as your call, Shane. Your camp's buzzing. Obviously, David Hay is back and doing what he does best. You're knocking out opponents. You've got Carl Frampton, who had the phenomenal win over Scott Quigg and goes on to fight Leo Santa Cruz. And now you've got George Groves, and you've got a mission. He says he's going to be a world champion. He's had 3 attempts. Is he going to get it right at the 4th attempt? And is he going to come through this on Saturday night?
I think, 100%. Our goal when we first started working together was to become world champion. Whichever route gets us there the fastest, we're going to take it. And Martin Murray has cropped up, and it's an amazing domestic fight, and I think, and it's also it's a world class domestic fight. So 2 guys that have both been there, both nearly got the win, arguably in certain decisions. But I think it's a fight that I strongly believe that George is going to win. And win in style.
Tactically, obviously, that's going to be all important on the night. You know Martin's strengths. You obviously worked on some weaknesses that you see as well. Do you just believe George is a better all-round fighter, or is it the weight advantage? How do you see this, Shane?
Well, I believe that Martin's, he's fought. I actually believe his best performances will be at middleweight. I think stepping up. He's fought Arthur Abrahams, who is also a middleweight coming up. I don't think he's fought a fully fledged super middleweight yet, and he's going to. I think on Saturday night he's going to feel that weight and feel that advantage that George is going to have.
You think George can dismantle Martin and stop him on Saturday and make a real statement?
Yeah, I mean we're coming to win, but I mean this is boxing. Anything can happen, and I think if Martin starts flagging, then I think George's got the punching power to take him out. But he's proved his toughness. He's a great fighter, and we're not looking for a stoppage. We're just looking for a win.
And finally, do you see it as a mouth-watering fight, as everybody out there seems to, or do you really fancy your man here, or are you worried in any way about how the fight could unfold?
You obviously worry and you obviously think about it, but I'm extremely confident. I think this is going to steal the show. I think this is the saviour of this show. I think if Eubank goes early and then if Joshua goes early, this is guaranteed money. This is the fight that people he knows it's going to be a great fight and value for money. And I think, just make sure you're in there early. Get in there.
I think it's guaranteed to be a fabulous fight. And Martin Murray, you never disappoint in that department. And I know, as Andrew was saying, how much you've wanted a big night on home soil. You've got it. You've got your request. Can you now deliver?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, every fight I've gone in, I've always gone in believing I'm going to win, and Saturday's no different. I've not climbed this hill to get in this position, and just I just want to. That's it. My job's done. Obviously, I want to win, and I want to go on to to bigger and better things. I know I've got a tough night ahead of me on Saturday. I've said it many times. I rate George Groves. He's a good fighter, but the way I'm feeling, mentally, physically, I'm fit, I'm fresh, and I'm hungry, and I'm ready to go on Saturday.
And the weight has been, an issue's been made of it, a middleweight coming up to super middleweight. Do you think that suits you, the fact that you're not dragging yourself down? Do you think you might have a little bit of extra speed, or is that something you do worry about, that he is a big super middleweight who can punch?
No, I mean, well, he is. He's. I've seen George today, and I can kind of relate to him. He looks like the weight's killing him. I've been there when I was doing middleweight, and he is naturally the bigger man. But I was naturally the bigger man when I was fighting majority of middleweights, because I was so big as a middleweight. But it didn't work for me. And it's not always an advantage. So I won't be bothered the fact that he will potentially be bigger and heavier than me on the night. I know what I've got to do. I know what I've got to be, and I'm not worrying about anything about that. I'm just thinking about myself and taking care of me own game and my own plan.
You've both come so close to becoming a world champion. Is this a case of who's got more left in the tank? Who's got that extra bit of freshness at this stage?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I said this when we was in the gloves are off. I know Groves has fought Frotch twice, massive profile fights over there against the top, elite fighter in Carl Frotch. But I think, I've fought more elite fighters, and even though I've fought more, they've not took much out of me. I'm a fresh 33-year-old. I only turned pro at 25, and I still feel fresh. I feel like I'm only just getting into my prime, where I think George is, I think he's ready to retire. I think he's ready to go. I think, that I got told he took his last loss against Badujak bad, and he was thinking about retiring. I got the phone call, and he was asking me about it, Sky Sports, what do you think? And I said I don't think he should, because, he's a good fighter. That was at the time where I was a middleweight, and I didn't feel like I was going to be fighting. But the point I'm trying to make is, he's been in a lot tougher fights than me. That I've took a lot more out of him, and I know I'm fresher. And I know I'm hungry than him, and I think that's going to be a massive factor on Saturday. Are
you saying that sort of, he went through that thought process after the Badujak fight, do I retire, do I call it a day, that on Saturday night that your pressure and your aggression and your skills as well, that you can mix it up and maybe take him to that place again, that he starts to question himself?
Like I've said, I rate Groves, but I firmly believe on Saturday, when it gets tough, which it will do, no doubt about it, when it gets tough, I believe he'll fold.
He's not up here, Oliver Harrison. I know he likes to keep himself away from the cameras, but you've been with him a long time. George has been with Shane a short time. Do you think that's going to be important as the rounds tick by, that that you've got Oliver in the corner who's been there through so much?
Yeah, I mean, again, I said this on the gloves are off. People change trainers, people don't. You've got to do what's right for you. Me and Oliver's a great team. We're still learning going forward. We'll learn off the guy every day. George is with Shane now. He feels like it's the right move for him, and he feels like he's in the best place he's ever been as well. So, fights are winning corners, but I think Saturday's going to come down to who wants it more, and I firmly believe there's no one out there who wants it more than me.
You say George Groves will fold. When do you think that will happen? What's the prediction for this massive fight on Saturday?
Well, I think it's just how he wants to play. You know, whether he wants to, you know, go out and, you know, go out early and try to take me out of there like he's done with a couple of his opponents, or, you know, he wants to stay a bit more reserved and save it to the, you know, the back end of the fight like he did with the, you know, the second Frotch fight. It all depends, but, you know, there are going to be times where, you know, it's going to be hard. There's no question about it. It's going to be one of them type of fights. I've said it from day one. And like I said, I believe that when it gets to that stage, there's no one hungrier than me and there's no one who wants it more.
Thank you, Martin. There's no one hungrier than you. George Groves, how hungry are you still to become a world champion and to get it absolutely right on Saturday night?
I must be starving, Adam, because apparently I can't make the weight anymore, you know. Everyone keeps going on about how it's such a struggle to make super middleweight now. And I can only fathom why, because Murray just isn't a big super middleweight, you know. I think their sole hope that they're pinning to in this fight will be that I have weight issues that will have an effect on my performance that will give him some sort of inch into this fight. When the truth is, I do the weight more than comfortably. I have a very good and solid team around me that make sure of that. I've prepared fantastically for this fight, and I'm in perfect condition. There is no quitting me. There's never been any quitting me. You go through all my fights, there's never quit. I've been knocked out, but I didn't quit in that fight. You know, I got up, I tried my best. You know, I wanted to carry on. I was in a position to carry on, and that's the only real blemish on my record. My other two losses, one was, you know, dubious. One was blatant robbery. So. I'm 28 and on the verge of retiring, but Martin, by all accounts, has been in the tougher fights, but is fresher at 33 and is good to go. So, you know, I've never been, as I say, in a situation where I've quit. There's no quit in me. I've never been in a fight against someone like Gennady Golovkin, say, where Martin's been in that situation where he's been beaten badly from the get-go. And
I've heard that happened in sparring as well when you went sort of sparring him.
Well, elaborate then. What happened in sparring?
Well, I've been told that you went home second day, couldn't cope with him.
Cope with him?
A good source.
The exclusive that maybe Martin's trying to deliver here on the Gennady Golovkin sparring would be that, yeah, we did a few rounds together, and for the sake of me doing rounds, sparring with him when he's a week or two out from a fight, when I'm fat and out of shape, training in 200-degree heat in the middle of summer in Big Bear, doing 4-minute rounds, 30 seconds rest with a world champion, and yeah, I think he cracked a rib or he damaged a rib, so I came home because sparring and didn't really need to carry on with that sparring, Martin. But I gave a very good account of myself, seeing as I was fat and out of shape and jet lagged, and had already trained that morning, and it was the first spar back after getting knocked out in front of 80,000 people by Carl Froch at Wembley Stadium. So I don't really go to bed at night and worry about that spar or any other spar or any other situation where I've been caught or buzzed or hurt or anything like that, because it doesn't matter, because it wasn't anything serious. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a must-win situation. I mean, Gennady was sparring with a body belt on to protect his ribs, and he said, "Do you want one?" And I said, "Nah, I thought he would get in the way." And I don't think I'll turn it down again because he hurt my ribs that day. But I don't need to worry, as I say, too much about that.
Any more excuses?
But my point was that you've been beaten badly in a fight where. That's where
did it quit? You quit in sparring. Edgar, 16-ounce glove. You quit. You're a quitter.
I didn't quit. We finished the spar, Martin, and then I went home. I didn't plan on coming back the next day and sparring again with an injury because I'm a professional athlete. So again, I'm not sure where you're finding quit because I was out there doing my own thing, sparring with Golovkin because it was good sparring. If I'm injured, it's no longer good sparring. So, yeah.
You say, George, that wasn't a must-win situation. It was sparring against, obviously, one of the great fighters in the world. This is a must-win situation, isn't it, Saturday? Absolutely can't get this wrong.
No, of course, yeah, it's a must-win situation. It's a situation that I fully plan on winning. I think Martin's going to come in with his game plan. He's going to try and fiddle about and sort of make me miss and hope for the best for the first half of the fight and then hope that I do tire and then try and drag me into a dogfight or however else he likes to describe it. But that's going to be difficult for him because he's not going to be able to get by the first 6 rounds the way he's hoping to because I'm going to land big shots on him. I'm going to do all the things that he says I like to do in fights that he's going to make sure don't happen, like land my jab, follow up with whichever shots are coming next, control the ring, control the centre of the ring, control the distance. I feel Martin's a very good fighter, but he's in with a better fighter, naturally bigger and stronger fighter, and this fight won't just come down to who wants it most. It'll come down to who's better, and I feel I'm better.
Do you understand how it's captured the imagination? We had the gloves are off, and Johnny said to you, people see it as a 50-50 fight. You don't at all. Do you understand that, the magnitude of this one, or would you just think that this is a comfortable fight for you because you are much classier than Martin Murray?
It's not going to be an easy fight, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I rate Martin Murray. I like the way he fights. I just don't think he's good enough to beat me on Saturday night. I think we're prepared correctly and we're in a good place. And it's a fight that on paper, yeah, sure, can be billed as a 50-50. It's certainly an exciting fight. Don't get me wrong. You want to tune in, you want to see it. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll see a gritty performance from Martin Murray. I think we'll see a good performance from me and a win from me, and then should be a show stealer.
We hope it is a show stealer, of course. What about, you talk about the excellent team that you've got. You've had time now with Shane McGuigan. How is that gelling for you? And is he the man to take you to that next level and get you what you want, which is that world title?
Yeah, I think so. I think Shane and his team, they're a good team. They're successful. They're they're clever. They're knowledgeable. They work hard. Everything you could want from your trainer and the people around him. Surrounded by great fighters. It's a winning mentality when you step into the gym, and that's a wonderful thing. I've had it before in the past when, training at Haymaker Gym and, everyone was doing great. I feel like this is a level above that now. There's lots and lots of talented fighters in and out of the gym, sparring partners, etc. And it's a wonderful place to train. I feel I'm improving week on week, and definitely the right guys to help me achieve everything I want in the sport.
Martin talks about wanting to perform on home soil in front of a big crowd. Obviously, we saw you last time against David Brophy at the O2, and it's a happy hunting ground. You beat, as Nisse was saying earlier, your arch rival James DeGale on that fantastic night for you. Do you think that extra experience and maybe a little bit of home support, I don't know, is it going to be pro you? Is it going to be pro Martin? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm sure there's plenty of St Helens fans coming down. But do you believe that you have that extra advantage going into the fight because you've been there before and performed at the O2 on the big domestic scale? I mean, obviously Wembley was a little bit bigger, but the O2 arena is a sort of home for you. Yeah,
I mean, I've had many happy nights at the O2. It's a lovely place to box. Martin, as he says, he's been in huge fights. He's been all around the world boxing. He's boxed in front of big crowds. He's boxed as the away fighter in hostile environments. So I don't think there's too much to be taken in that respect. We both know what it's like to go out and perform in front of a big crowd. So it's just down to what happens on the night.
It's down to who's better on the night. You believe it's you. Prediction, George, for what happens on Saturday?
Yeah, I think I'm going to win and win well. I think Martin Murray's going to show heart. I'm going to show heart, and I'm going to show a little bit more skill. And you're in for a real treat. You know, I always say that my opponents won't hear the final bell. I can't see any different this time. So.
George.
Thank you, Adam. These guys have already done head-to-heads. Before we go, we're going to just toss for the corner on the night between George Groves and Martin Murray, and also a ring walk for the night. So, just to show you, George. Accusations. We're going to go corner first, okay? So, heads or tails? It's tails. So you got your corner. Martin, ring walk.
Ring walk and
Tails. You done well. Okay. You get a choice of walk.
I get the choice
You've got
of
the
walk.
corner and the walk. So unless you want to change that, I'm happy to.
Nah, so I'll take the champions ring walk.
Okay, second. Martin, you get introduced second on the night. Ring walk first. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We look forward to a great night on Saturday night. All the people up here are available for one-on-ones. Thank you very much.